What happens when faith, fame, and fire collide live on television? The answer came crashing down right in front of a stunned studio audience when Chris Pratt walked off after a heated exchange with Joy Behar on The View. It was a moment no one saw coming, and one the internet still can't stop replaying. Before we dive into the full story, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and tell us in the comments what you think really happened that morning, because this one even left Whoopi speechless. That day began like any other episode of The View. The crowd buzzed with chatter, cameras hummed, and the familiar theme music filled the air. Chris Pratt was there to promote his new movie, a story about redemption, faith, and finding hope in dark times. But no one in that studio knew that the very topic of faith would soon turn the air thick with tension and end with Chris walking off the stage entirely. He entered with his usual warmth, a calm smile, neat jacket, easy charm. The audience cheered as he walked out. Whoopi greeted him kindly, and Sarah Haynes praised his performance, saying that he had brought something deeply personal to the role. Chris nodded. "Yeah, I think it's about second chances," he said, "about realizing faith isn't something you just talk about, it's something you live." That's when Joy Behar leaned forward, eyes sharp with that mix of curiosity and challenge. "So, Chris," she began, "you've been open about your faith lately. You know, Hollywood isn't exactly friendly toward that kind of talk. Don't you ever worry it turns people off?" The crowd murmured. Chris kept his composure. "I don't think it's about turning anyone off," he replied calmly. "It's about being honest about who I am. I've made mistakes. I've grown. And my faith is what keeps me grounded." Joy tilted her head. "Sure, but don't you think saying things like God has a plan can sound a bit privileged? I mean, what about people who don't believe in that stuff? Isn't it unfair to act like some divine force is guiding your success?" The air tightened. Chris's expression changed. His smile faded. His voice grew steady but firm. "I don't think success has anything to do with it," he said. "Faith isn't about winning. It's about surrender. It's about grace." Joy crossed her arms. "Grace is lovely, Chris, but this isn't Sunday school. This is The View. People tune in for real talk." The audience gave an awkward laugh. Chris looked at her, then at the crowd. "Well," he said, "for me, faith is real life." The studio went silent. The mood shifted from light entertainment to something far deeper. The charming movie star everyone knew now seemed serious, grounded, unshakable. Whoopi gently tried to steer the conversation back to the movie, but Joy wasn't ready to drop it. "I just don't get it," she said, her tone rising. "Every time a celebrity talks about religion, it sounds like preaching, like some kind of Hollywood revival." Chris took a slow breath. "That's not what I'm doing," he said. "I'm not preaching. I'm being honest about what's real for me." "Yeah, but truth is subjective, Chris," Joy shot back. "Maybe, but kindness isn't. Respect isn't. You don't need to share my beliefs to show grace." That landed. The audience broke into applause, loud, heartfelt, spontaneous. It was clear Joy had pushed too far. She forced a smile, but her tone came out sharp. "Okay, Pastor Pratt, calm down." Whoopi raised her hand. All right, let's not turn this into a sermon, folks." But the tension had already settled, electric, fragile, impossible to ignore. After the commercial break, the atmosphere stayed heavy. The tension between Chris Pratt and Joy Behar hung in the air like smoke after a spark, unseen but undeniable. The camera panned across the table, catching tight smiles and nervous laughter. Whoopi, always the professional, tried to lighten things up. "We're back with Chris Pratt talking about his new film, Crossroads of Faith," she said with a grin. "This movie is already getting Oscar buzz, and it's not even out yet." Chris smiled modestly. "Yeah, we just wanted to make something real, something that reminds people that hope isn't gone, even when life feels impossible." Sarah leaned forward, smiling. "There's a lot of heart in this movie," she said. "I read you even took a pay cut to make it happen." Chris laughed softly. "Yeah, we didn't have a big budget, but honestly, that didn't matter. The message mattered more than the money. I just wanted to do something that spoke to people's souls." The audience applauded warmly. But beside him, Joy Behar rolled her eyes. Subtle, but noticeable. The crowd caught it. A few murmurs rippled through the studio. Whoopi noticed and shot Joy a look, but Joy ignored it. "Chris," she said with a half smile, "you keep talking about faith and souls. I'm just wondering, when you make these movies, do you ever think about the people who don't believe in any of that? Or is this part of your big evangelical mission?" The tension deepened. Sarah blinked. The audience shifted uneasily. Chris inhaled slowly. "No, Joy, it's not a mission. I'm not trying to convert anyone. I'm trying to connect. But connection means honesty. And honesty can make people uncomfortable." This time, the applause was louder. Some audience members even stood up. Joy forced a grin. "Okay, Pastor Pratt, calm down." Whoopi raised her hand. All right. Let's not turn this into a sermon, folks." But the tension had already settled. Electric, fragile, impossible to ignore. By the next morning, The View wasn't just a daytime show, it was the center of a national storm. When the hosts returned, the air was heavy. Whoopi began carefully. "So," she said, glancing at Joy, "I think everyone saw what happened yesterday. Sometimes we push, and sometimes we push too far." Joy clasped her hands. "Look, I like Chris. He's talented. I didn't mean to offend anyone. It was a discussion, not an attack." Sarah spoke gently. "Joy, when someone says something is sacred, maybe that's when we ease up." Joy frowned slightly. "Come on, it's The View. People know what they're signing up for." Whoopi gave her a long look that said everything, without words. Meanwhile, across Los Angeles, Chris Pratt sat outside his home, phone buzzing nonstop. Reporters wanted statements, he ignored them. Watching his kids play, he smiled and posted another short message. Sometimes peace means walking away. No regrets. Within an hour, it hit 6 million likes. News anchors called it mature, graceful, and a lesson in self-respect. And through it all, Chris stayed silent, steady, calm, centered. Because real strength isn't in shouting back. It's knowing when silence says enough. The image that stayed with everyone wasn't Joy Behar's smirk or Whoopi's warning. It was Chris Pratt standing under bright studio lights, eyes calm, unclipping his microphone, and walking off stage. Not angry, not defeated,